Hey and welcome. So the DCS OH-58 Delta or D is out and launched and available to purchase. What I wanted to mention to you was if you're having trouble and you're using the standard Thrustmaster pedals, you can go to the Thrustmaster website, you click on the technical support website and put in the word pedals for your pedals. You can almost see it from the image. Click on the image and then you can go down through the utilities section and it has advanced calibration software. So go and download the advanced calibration software and it should look a little bit like this. So you have this advanced calibration software. When you jump in, you might find that your pedals are just constantly pushing to one side or the other and like centered. So there's not centering, and I don't know of a way to do that with DCS. So you kind of need to go grab this software, move your pedals to both the limits, so full right, full left, great, then just let go and you'll notice it'll center. Then what you're doing is you're just clicking set center and then click apply. Okay, and then it'll tell you to unplug the device and then replug it back in. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to unplug it and then I will replug it back in. I actually unplugged the wrong thing this time, but we're going to get it right. Okay, so we plugged it in now, and so we've recentered it. And so now we've done that process. We can go back through to the game. We go and click fly again. How cool is this image? This image is great. And I've just got it on a hot start at the moment, so we go and click fly. So you get into your aircraft and we'll just go into adjust controls. So you're clicking OH-54D pilot in the top left, go through to access commands, and what I've set up basically is just your pitch, so your joystick Y, so forwards and backwards, and then your roll X, left and right, joy X, and then you've got your collective. So I've just got the Thrustmaster HOTUS Warthog, and with that I've got this set to joy RZ. So if we go in and we have a look to access tune, you can see our set's no dead zone to it. But what I did do interesting is I clicked on this tick here for slider. So what happens is, as I push it forwards, all the way forwards, it brings up the collective, so it's as if it's raising it. And I'll show you that when we jump in the helicopter. And then I bring it all the way back towards me, or backwards, or to the lowest part of the Thrustmaster HOTUS Warthog. And that's where the red dot sits. There's a small curvature, just a dead zone of nothing, and X and Y. So that's how that one's set up. Now the really tricky one is the flight control pedals anti-torque. So this is Joy Z for me, and this is the rudder pedals that we were just talking about. So you go into access tune, and in here I set it to a dead zone of 6. I put saturation. You can probably reduce this to something like 90, 91, just so it doesn't go all the way. And then I've got a curvature of 40, and you'll notice I've got nothing on slider, invert, or use the curve. So just basically that, 6, 91, 91, 40. And then we can go and click OK. So now we've got all this. Now in this screen, you can see when you can move it. So like if I pull my joystick left and right, you can see it's going to both limits, forwards and backwards. If you have your Joy Z and it's going crazy in one direction or another, that's when you need that software that I was showing you just at the start. So then basically move your rudder pedal full right and you should see it go full right. Bring it back a little bit. You can see it coming back to center. Full left. And you've got it to full left, and then bring it back to center. Okay, good. So if we've got that set up, we've got the basics to be able to fly this thing. So basically now we can go off into our helicopter. I'm just going to just tap Alt-C, just so we can look down here. So here's our collective. So if I push the throttle forward, you can see it's raising it. Bring the throttle back, and it's lowering it. Cool. And then the next thing is, as we're bringing that collective up, we're trying to judge, is the helicopter going to start turning left or start turning right? And we're going to use the rudder pedals to try and keep us in the center. So I start pulling up the collective, not touching the joystick at all at the moment, just pushing the collective, and you can see it's moving to the right. So that means we're going to move the left pedal of the rudder pedal just forwards a little bit. So I'm just going to push it up forward a little bit, keep adding a little bit more collective. You can see the helicopter is still going to the right. I'm going to push that left pedal forward a little bit, keep pushing it forward. Now you can see it's going in the opposite direction. So I'm going to bring it back a little bit on the left pedal, and I'm going to push the right pedal forward a little bit to center it. And so now it's still leaning to the right, so now I'm going to push the left pedal forward a little bit. until we get to that sensor bit. And then eventually we can start talking about hovering. So we're just going to keep putting in that collective, and we're almost at a point where it's going to take off. And you can see now it's just about to launch. So now we need to use the joystick, absolutely. And so we can sort of just stay here. And I would say this helicopter is very, very sensitive, and even with what I've got set up at the moment, it's still very, very sensitive. So you may want to start making more curves to make it less sensitive for those smaller movements. But yeah, you can see the whole lightweight nimbleness of it just immediately when you take off with this thing. And that's pretty much my controls. But yeah, the main thing I wanted to add was just that Thrustmaster control button, because I think if you just jump in this helicopter, load in your Thrustmaster HOTAS Warthog, and you've got your rudder pedals just slamming to one side or the other, it just becomes a nightmare to try and fly this thing. So hopefully that will help you get going with this. Definitely recommend just checking out that software and just make sure that you have it centered. We'll go for a little flight. This is release day that I'm having this helicopter, so I can normally fly through tunnels and all sorts of things in helicopters, but with this thing at the moment, absolutely not. So yeah, I think it's going to take everyone a little bit of time just to get used to this. But that's where I'm at the moment. So I'm going to bring that collective back and try and push the nose forward, and we'll see if we can get a little bit of speed. Going about 62, 64 at the moment. I heard that it's got a max speed of around about 110. It'll move along at about 110 pretty comfortably. So it's relatively slow. I don't think that's really a too big a concern. What we really want to do is set up some aircraft carriers and start landing on the aircraft carriers that are moving, stuff like that. Because that's one of the most fun things you can do. Certainly, I don't feel like I want to jump into weapons on my first day with this helicopter. That's sort of, I guess, my comment. I feel like I just need to learn how to fly this at the moment and just get used to the flight model. It's a unique flight model. The other helicopters don't quite handle like this, and I haven't seen the new Gazelle one, so I can't comment on that. So when I make that comment, I haven't seen the new Gazelle flight model. I never went back to that helicopter, so I've just waited for this one, and that's all I've done. But it is a unique flight model, at least for me. It does handle quite differently to the Apache, but I think we can learn how to fly this. But I do think I've got to spend some time just getting that down before I start trying to do anything else. So this is about 91, 92. Now I did notice if I pushed it too far, it went into like engine overextended or something. So I guess you can have a beeping noise, and yeah, you can overwear the engine if you try and push it too hard. So we're doing about 96, 97. And we got no problems, but just be aware if you do go too quickly, you can have trouble with this helicopter. It'll start beeping at you, and yeah, there's some kind of engine issue. But 97, just in a trial flight, we seem to be quite okay. So here's the helicopter going along. We're on the Marianas map. As for frame rate, I'm not too sure, but I am using the 4090, and I'm not noticing any issues particularly at the moment. The scenery really isn't set up for anything amazing right now. You can look at that water, and the water doesn't look like water, so that's all I can say. It just looks like a yellow blob at the moment with whatever graphic settings are going. Yeah, 84. Let's just see if we can climb this little hill here. So I'm having to use those rudder pedals to keep turning it. She's climbing, but we're losing a lot of speed. Let's have a look at that external view. So it's climbing 335, 340 meters. It should make it up there. We do want to be careful of those trees. Sometimes you can get to a point where you can just take your feet off the rudder pedals, but I don't feel like that's very common with this helicopter for some reason. I feel like even with it centered and everything, I feel like I very much have to have my feet on the pedals the whole time. So we made it up over that hill, which is interesting. We're up around 500, 600 meters, so that's interesting. So we'll try and turn left a little bit, and we'll dive back down. Maybe we can find that airport again, over that way. We don't want to keep climbing, so I'm going to bring that collector back, and just push the nose down. Got to give it a little bit of right pedal there. I believe it is coming down. 400, 460, so yeah, it's fallen out of the sky. Got a lot of forward momentum now, 100. 105. Just trading that speed for a little bit of altitude. Yeah, this is release day. I haven't had very long to sort of work this helicopter out at all. But I don't feel like I want to try and use weapons just yet. You can see all the controls. Visibility out the back is okay. I believe you can lean out the window and then look out, so probably want to do that. Speed's about 47. Just keep bringing that collective back if we can. Get that speed down. So we're sort of lined up on the runway here. Really haven't used those rudder pedals. Just over the fence. And it's got no wheels or anything like that, so it's pretty much just, if it hits the ground, it's going to kind of skid, isn't it? So I'm happy if we just land anywhere on this runway. Bring that collector back. It does seem tricky to sort of catch it right at the point of hitting the ground and then just hover. It does seem tricky. So like I'm giving it a lot of left rudder now and a lot of throttle suddenly just as I got to that end point to stop it from actually tapping the ground. And now we're okay, we can just land. What I'm not happy with is it's spinning around. So let's just take off. Try and get into some kind of hover. Because you want to face that direction. And then, okay, so we're into a hover. Supposedly. You've got to go a little bit more nuts on the joystick if you want to hover this thing. Turn it left a little bit with the rudder, right a little bit, left a little bit, right a little bit. And then, so we're facing that way with the helicopter. Let's bring it up towards those buildings. It's a real helicopter. Like, this is not a game. This is, when you get to this point, you start realizing, oh, okay, they wanted to make a sim here. So we'll see if we can just move over towards those buildings. Sort of going over towards it responsibly, we're not going too fast. Gee, do you have to, when you get to these low speeds, you really start having to use those pedals like crazy. And it's still very sensitive for me. The joystick, you really have to be quite active with it. That's all I could say about that. So there's the building. Not quite in the hover. We're trying to move towards it a little bit, but yeah. Just coming up to it. I'm just sort of staying here now. So I'll just pull it back, bring that collective back, and we'll just let it lower down gently. I don't know if that's too quick or what, but now we'll just let it fall the rest of the way. Keep going. Keep going. I think we can let it go down. So that's my little flight with the Kiowa. What do I think? First impressions? Well, I do think if you have the Thrustmaster pedals like I do, just make sure you center it, because you're going to be in a world of pain without doing that. Other than that, yeah, look, it's great. But there's a lot to learn, being this is only release day. We can definitely fly this thing. We'll be able to put it on an aircraft carrier and whatever. I can see we can do that, but it's very sensitive right at the moment. We will probably need to keep working with these curves and find something better than what I got going on at the moment. As you can see, I'm trying to fly it with no curve whatsoever here, and on the x-axis, no curve, there's no curvature, nothing on that one. So I was flying it like that. On the collective, you can see I only had no dead zone, just a little bit of curvature, and that's all I had going on. The only thing I clicked on was the slider button. And then this one for the pedals, we did quite a little bit to that one. So I had dead zone of 6, saturation 91, and then the curvature of 40. So yeah, we might need to tweak that as well. But yep, just some extra information about the Kiowa and my first impressions. But yeah, look, I'm so excited that this has released. And thank you very much to the developers for making this helicopter. We should have a lot of fun with it. Have a great day.